This is a massive weekend in the football world. College football has all of their conference title games. Friday night it starts with a Pac-12 title game. USC is going to play Utah. USC is the number 4 ranked team in the country. It's very simple. If USC wins, they are in the college football playoff. They're 10-1. The only loss by USC all year is actually to Utah. And it was an incredible way that Utah beat USC earlier this year. One of my favorite games of the year. Utah went for 2 at the end of the game. They got the 2-point conversion. They won by 1 point. They could have tied it up and gone to overtime, but Utah said, we are going to control our own destiny. We're not going to go to overtime against Caleb Williams, who might be the Heisman Trophy winner in college football this year. It's a great chance at revenge for USC to beat Utah, but it's also obvious that Utah can hang with USC. So I think Friday night, it's going to be an awesome game, Pac-12 title game. I'm telling you, Caleb Williams is like watching a video game character. The way he makes defenders look silly, runs around, and it's just, Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in college football. He's explosive, he's crazy, he's going to win the Heisman Trophy, and I guess that's a bit brash. It's Caleb Williams or Bryce Young. It's a toss-up. They're both so close, I don't really care about the distinction. But they're both going to be Heisman Trophy winners, I think, after this year. And my goodness, watch this football game. It's going to be awesome. Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time, is a Big 12 title game. K-State against TCU. TCU is 12-0. They're the number 3 team in the nation. Earlier in October, TCU beat K-State 28-38. Look, I respect and I love TCU. I've had fun watching their season. They're the little engine that could. However, I am rooting for K-State to beat TCU in this football game. It's very possible. They were competitive last time. And I want TCU to lose so that Ohio State can get into the college football playoff. I just think that Ohio State is a better team, in my opinion, and provides a better challenge for Georgia or whoever they're going to play. And so it's no hate against TCU, but it's a year that I wish you had an expanded playoff, because I think it's a shame to leave Ohio State out. For TCU, even though TCU, if they go undefeated, you gotta let them in. So I just wish there was an expanded college football playoff. It's been approved recently to have a new one in the future, but this year we don't. We only get 4 teams this year. Because we only get 4, I would rather see Ohio State than TCU in the top 4. Now, Georgia plays LSU in the SEC title game. Georgia should win. If LSU upsets Georgia, that'd be pretty crazy. It's Brian Kelly's first year coaching at LSU. If he can win on Saturday, he will have beat Alabama and Georgia, won 10 games, and be the SEC champion all in year 1. And on top of that, if somehow LSU can upset Georgia, I don't even know how it would affect the college football playoff, because is 1-loss Georgia better than 1-loss USC? I would think so. I don't know, man. It's crazy. I honestly am rooting for LSU to beat Georgia. I don't even know I like chaos. And I don't know what would happen if LSU beat Georgia. I think Georgia would still get in, probably, but I want to see that decision have to get made. That would be wild and interesting. So, plus again, imagine if this was the resume for Brian Kelly. Beat Alabama and Georgia, win 10 games, and win the SEC title in year 1 at LSU. That would be crazy. It's unlikely. We're probably not going to have chaos, but I am rooting for chaos always. On Saturday evening, number 2 ranked Michigan plays unranked Purdue in the Big Ten title game. It's the East against the West. Purdue won the West. In the Big Ten East, you got Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. So it's not really the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. It's the 2 teams that won their side of the Big Ten. The only way Michigan-Purdue is interesting is if Michigan loses to Purdue. If Michigan finds a way to lose, Michigan's 12-0, they're going to go to the college football playoff. So losing would be a massive failure for them and would open the door for Ohio State and other rivals to get in. So it's a must-win for Michigan, but I don't imagine Michigan's going to lose. So we'll see. It's interesting, but only interesting if Michigan does, in fact, lose this game. In the NFL, honestly, the number 1 game this weekend in the NFL is Cleveland at Houston. Deshaun Watson The Browns quarterback is returning from his suspension after a bunch of, the nicest way to put it is sexual misconduct accusations. He's a scumbag, but he's good at football. And so, we watch. And, I hate to say it, but it's must-watch TV. It's Deshaun Watson playing against his old team at Houston, where he played, and the team that drafted him. There's a lot of bad blood. The crowd is going to be insane. They're going to be angry. They're going to be chanting vulgar stuff. It's going to be really fun. Remember, he demanded a trade away from Houston. Then it came out he's a massive scumbag. I don't know, man. I say, I don't love that this is true, but I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I can't wait to see the crowd. I can't wait to, I almost wish TV was even less censored so we could really hear the F-bombs and hear the stuff and lean into the crowd. And I wish society wasn't so, maybe prude is the word, where we can't broadcast stuff like, the children, protect them from cuss words. It's like, they go to middle school. In middle school, they cuss everywhere. So I just don't understand why we're so careful to not expose the children to the bad stuff and our sensitive little ears. But I would pay so much money for an uncensored version of this football game, to hear the crowd, to hear the cussing, it'll still happen a little bit, but I know it's going to be a little bit toned down, and that's unfortunate. But if you're in that stadium, oh boy, I can only imagine how insane that crowd is going to be. And again, as an agent of chaos, I love chaos. Going to be a chaotic, fun atmosphere. And that's the game of the week in the NFL for sure. Another interesting game, though, is Tennessee at Philly. Here's what's interesting. It's two teams that run the ball really, really well. And I'm just excited to watch this style of football. It's two very different styles of running games, but Philly's 10-1, Tennessee's 7-4. It's going to be a physical, brutal, intense, fun football game. There's another storyline here. Eagles receiver A.J. Brown is playing against his former team, the Tennessee Titans, who traded him away. That's going to be a good, interesting storyline. So it's a great game. It's an interesting storyline. Titans at Philly, probably the second best game of the week in the NFL. Jets-Vikings is really interesting. Jets quarterback Mike White is making his second start replacing Zach Wilson, who got benched. We'll see how Mike White does. He played really well last week. Can he keep it going? He didn't make a lot of crazy high-level throws. He just executed the offense in kind of a boring, decent way. And what's going to happen with another week of film? What is the Vikings defense going to do to disrupt Mike White? We will see. It's a huge test for Mike White because the Vikings are 9-2. They're a good football team. I am very, very curious to see what happens. Now I feel guilty, though. I said that Titans at Philly might be the second best game of the week in the NFL. Here's another one that might be the second best game of the week, and you got to be fair and objective here. KC at Cincinnati is very, very interesting. It's a rematch of last year's AFC title game. Kansas City is 9-2. The Bengals are 7-4. I expect a close and exciting football game here. You got two great quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and the best in the land, Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for this football game. Dolphins at 49ers is going to be really fun. Miami is 8-3. The 49ers are 7-4. Miami head coach Mike McDaniel was the 49ers offensive coordinator last year. He knows the 49ers really well. I think that gives Miami an advantage in this football game. He knows their personnel really well. And 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell will not play in this game. Christian McCaffrey, their other running back who they just traded for, is questionable. I think Miami wins here. Here's why. To this day still, no one has been able to slow down or stop Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill with Miami's offense. The games they've lost have been times where Tua wasn't playing or things went wrong. If we get a complete game from Tua, I just don't see, I don't know how Miami loses. Their offense is so explosive. And again, no one has been able to stop them. However, on top of Mike McDaniel knowing the 49ers know Mike McDaniel. He used to work in that building. If anyone can create a game plan based on how well they know Mike McDaniel, it is the 49ers. I don't think they can, but there's a chance that the 49ers could beat the Dolphins, and it's going to be a really fun, interesting, exciting football game. The Jaguars play Detroit. I am really, really curious to see how Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence does. He's coming off a really big game last week where maybe the best game of his NFL career. He had a great game against the Ravens. He also had a fourth quarter comeback. It was awesome. I want to see Trevor Lawrence play well again this week on the road against Detroit. Packers-Bears is interesting for no other reason than I don't know who's going to play quarterback. Bears quarterback Justin Fields is questionable. And even if he's not healthy, he's got no reason to play because every loss helps the Bears get a little bit better draft pick. And so I don't know if Justin Fields is going to play. I don't know that he should play. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers left the game on Sunday hurt. He's got messed up ribs. He's got a broken thumb on his throwing hand. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to play. He says he's going to play, but ultimately who really knows? And I don't know. This game is like a footnote. I don't know that I'm going to watch it. Like, at least maybe not. I might watch it like Tuesday. I'm not going to, there's so many other great games on Sunday. I'm not going to go out of my way to try to, I'm not going to skip the Bengals-Chiefs game to watch Packers-Bears, but it's certainly a game that I'll circle back to like later in the week and go, what happened here? Let's go watch it. Because I am curious who plays quarterback and what goes down. It's not a priority, but it is interesting to me. Then I find Commanders-Giants very interesting. Washington quarterback Taylor Heineke just keeps finding a way to do just enough to win football games. He's not amazing, but he wins. Washington has won 3 straight. Washington has actually won 6 of their last 7 games. The Giants are on a 2-game losing streak. The Giants are 7-4. Washington is 7-5. It's a really big NFC East battle in New York. I am very, very curious what happens. Commanders at Giants. That's a really good game, in my opinion. There are 3 primetime games this week. On Thursday Night Football, it's an AFC East battle. The Bills play at the Patriots. I think it's a great opportunity this week for the Bills to take a division lead from Miami. If Buffalo can win and Miami plays San Francisco, if Miami loses to the 49ers, it's very likely the Bills can grab first place back from them in the AFC East. I am very, very curious to see in this game how Patriots quarterback Mac Jones will play. They lost to the Vikings on Thanksgiving, but he looked really good, and their offense looked even better than it has all year. They're making progress with their new offense that they're trying to evolve. So I'm very curious to see if Mac Jones keeps playing well this week on Thursday night. On Sunday Night Football, the Colts play at the Dallas Cowboys. It's not that interesting of a football game, in my opinion. It should be a very easy win for Dallas. They're a much better football team. They just have to execute, and I think they will. I can't imagine a world where Matt Ryan and the Colts can beat the Cowboys, unless the Cowboys have a monumental failure and are just terrible. But I don't see that. It's a really good front seven. It's a great front on defense for the Cowboys against a struggling offensive line for the Colts. It's a mismatch, and Sunday Night Football shouldn't be close. The Colts should get obliterated by the Dallas Cowboys. Monday Night Football, Saints at Tampa. It's a fun, interesting NFC South battle. Tampa's trying and barely clinging to first in their division. They're 5-6. I think this game is a great opportunity to put the microscope on Tampa and examine their problems. Offensive line is the number one problem in Tampa. It's hurting their offense. It's really holding them back. Monday night, what you can watch for is how does the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line play? I think not well. It's been their problem recently. We'll see if that continues. In the NFL, 2 teams have a bye week this weekend. The Carolina Panthers are not playing. They last played with Sam Darnold and won. It's kind of unfortunate. I would have liked to see them continue their, kind of getting on a roll with Sam Darnold. And then Arizona also doesn't play this week. Boy, they need a bye week. Arizona's 4-8. They're dysfunctional. They're bad. I don't know. Arizona, they're lucky to have a bye week this week. Now, there are 3 NFL games this weekend I have labeled as boring games that I don't care about, but I'll tell you about anyway. Denver against Baltimore. I can't imagine a world where Denver beats Baltimore. The Denver Broncos are awful. I don't want to watch them. This game shouldn't be close. It's only noteworthy if Denver can find a way. Like if Russell Wilson throws like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, I go, wow, what happened? But otherwise, don't care. Seattle against the Rams is a bad game because Seattle should win easily. The Rams are missing a lot of their star players due to injuries. I don't want to watch a game that I already feel like I know the outcome to. Chargers at Raiders. The Chargers are 6-5. The Raiders are 4-7. Honestly, it's a bit unfair to put them in the boring game category because it's probably going to be a close, exciting, good game. Like, let's be clear about that. Just neither team is really in a good position. So to me, there's so many more interesting storylines across the NFL. This is a game that I don't care about because I'd rather watch Mike White. I'd rather watch what happens with Justin Fields, what happens with Tua in Miami, what happens between KC and Cincinnati, what happens in that great game at Philadelphia between Tennessee and Philadelphia. There's so many other great games that have more implications and better storylines that, if you're excited for this game, hell yeah, enjoy it. It's probably actually going to be a close, weird, intense game that one of these teams is going to blow a lead at the end and have a wild game, and it's going to be like a one-loss game because both teams seem like teams that just don't want to win football games, and they lose by one score constantly. So it's going to be probably very entertaining. I just think there's way better out there this week with more implications between teams that are actually in a playoff picture rather than the 4-7 Raiders. So if you watch this game, I'm not belittling you. It's probably going to be fun, but I just don't find myself engaged or interested in it.